Hi folks, Dave, the Honest Audiophile. This is the Crinacle X 7hz Salnotes Dioko, and these are my Honest Audiophile impressions. I want to thank Linsoul for providing the Crinacle X 7hz Salnotes Dioko for review. To greatly appreciate it, Linsoul, you rock. Okay, so the Crinacle X 7hz Salnotes Dioko. This is a collaboration between 7hz Salnotes and Crinacle, and it'll set you back $99 on Linsoul. It has a 14.6 millimeter planar driver, impedance of 16 ohms, 106 decibels of sensitivity, and a frequency response of 5 Hz to 40 kilohertz. Comes in this pretty standard box, has a picture, has more pictures, has a little bit of branding. There you go. Opening it up, you're going to be greeted with the largest carrying case for a $99 IEM that I am aware of. It is the size of my hand and it is thick. Says Salnotes and has a big huge 7 on it. I like the design of the case, but it's just huge. There's just no reason for this. It's not pocketable whatsoever. Opening it up, you're going to get your IEMs on one side, and you're going to get a very extremely limited amount of accessories. You're going to get a bag of tips. Wow. You've really overdone yourself here. Then you get some paperwork. That's it. Tips are okay, they worked, but I found that the ones that were pre-installed, which are these red stemmed tips, work best. No foam tips were provided. And then I find that the Dioko are massive. Look how huge those are. They are really cool to look at, but man, they are huge. And they come with a nice cable, connects with 2-pin, has good ear hooks, well controlled. It's a nice cable, has a very much a strong cinch, metal connector at the split, and then it terminates to 3.5. Sorry about the cat hair here. So it connects with 3.5. But this design, yeah, they're huge. And there you can see the filters. Speaking of filters, we will talk about this real quickly and then resume about fit and comfort. So filters. The Dioko was originally shipped with the wrong filter, and 7hz caught that real quickly. There was somewhere, we'll say less than 500 that were shipped with the wrong filter. It could have been a lot less than that. 7hz and Salnotes caught it early at the factory and started installing the correct filter. Linsoul sent out emails to those impacted or possibly impacted and said, we're going to send you some new filters. Here's a video of how you can replace them. So I was originally going to get this video a lot sooner, but I had to wait for the new filters to arrive. Once they did, I made a video. I'll post it somewhere on the screen here. And I discuss how the filters were a pain for me to install, but hey, you know, some are better at doing it than others. Anyways, I was able to get the filters replaced, listen to it, and it sounded the same as the one as they did before. But as a precaution, I just wanted to make sure I had the proper filter. So I highly recommend that you listen to it with the filters changed, just as a precaution, just to make sure that you have the proper filter. Anyways, fit and comfort. Yeah. So the fit is very strange. These things do not fit in my ears very well whatsoever. They are always kind of loose and they just don't sit in my ear well. Maybe they will work better for you. The red stem tips that I do have installed here work the best for me when it comes to fit and seal. But again, seal is not that great. We're probably somewhere in about the 60% of outside noise is blocked, so it's doable, but it's not that great. Comfort. These will get uncomfortable quickly, about 30 minutes in the ears, and my ears are saying get these out and get them out for a long time. Give me about 30 minute to 45 minute rest, and then you can put them back in your ears. These things do not like being in my ears for very long without really hurting. So yeah, I like the design. It's kind of cool with the purple glass and all of that, but fit and comfort, yeah, no, it just doesn't do it. The drivability of the Dioko, these are fairly easy to drive when it comes to a planar. Can you use them on a dongle? Yes. Are you going to get the most optimal performance? No. I found that with dongles, believe it or not, the Periodic Audio Rhodium was able to drive them and get them quite loud and actually sound fairly decent, but I knew that I was still missing just a little bit. Hifi FC3, was a little bit better, a little more powerful, and I was getting a little bit more out of the sound. But the two that sounded the best were the Hifi Go Bar and the Hifi FC4. And I found that when I used an adapter or a balanced cable, so this adapter is 3.5 to 4.4, and I used it 4.4 on either one of these devices, that the Dioko sounded the best. So if you're going to use the Dioko with a dongle, highly recommend that you use it with one that is balanced. But it sounds the best with a balanced DAP, something like a Sony NWWM1A or something else with a balanced output, or something that has a good amount of output power. It'll sound pretty good. And I found it performed the best on desktop setups. Anything from the SMSL DO100, HO100 stack to Audom X1 SGT, Mytek Liberty DAC with a head amp GSX Mini or a Drop THX1 linear as the amplifiers, or also the Aueze Deckard were the ones that I used, and it sounded way better. In my opinion, the Dioko performs the best on desktops, just like all other planar IEMs. I want to thank my Patreon members and YouTube members for supporting the channel through finances. I appreciate the sacrifices that you make in your own personal life in order to support the channel in a little way. I do greatly appreciate everything that you do with the love and support of the channel. Greatly appreciate everything that you do and how you are providing funds in order to help further the review experience for others. If you are interested in becoming a YouTube member or a Patreon supporter, please check out the links down below. Also, while you're down there, don't forget to give a thumbs up or a thumbs down to the video, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and to hit the notification bell. All right, so the Crinacle X 7hz Salnotes Dioko. How does it sound? The Dioko has a very unique and interesting sound. It may or may not be for you. Bass. So the bass is well controlled. It has good extension into the sub bass, and it has good tonality with adequate detail retrieval and resolution. I find that the Dioko has enough of the technicalities, but it's light on impact, and it just kind of comes across in a unengaged, boring presentation. It sounds good, but it just doesn't really drive home, and it just doesn't really impact and connect emotionally with the music. The mids of the Dioko have nice tonality. They have good tone and timbre, and they have good detail retrieval and resolution, but again, they just lack that emotional connection, and they just don't have the they just sound ho-hum and bored, and they just don't, they seem like they don't want to be there, and that they're just going through the motions. And then the treble's laid back, it has good extension, and it has good tonality, good tone and timbre, and decent detail retrieval and resolution. But again, it just lacks connection. It just doesn't have an emotional impact to the sound, and there's just not a connection with the listener. It's like somebody who comes into work and doesn't want to be there, and they're just doing it because they need the paycheck. That's the way that the Dioko sounds. It's just like, I'm here. You want to listen to music? Okay, here you go. Here's your music. And it just doesn't add anything to connect you and emotionally give you enjoyment. It's just ho-hum. I'm bored. Can we get this over with? Okay, are you done listening to music? Good. Now I can go back in the case. Soundstage of the Dioko is nice. It has a good amount of width to it, does a good job of portraying accurately the different sizes of stages, does good with depth and layering, doesn't get confused or muddled, and it stays well controlled, does a good job with imaging, and it's fairly close to being precise. It's very, very close to being pinpoint, but not quite there. Overall, I like the Dioko's sound. It's a very laid back and just chill type of sound, but it lacks connection, and it just sounds boring. It just sounds like something that's going through the motions, doesn't really want to be there, and it just is looking for a way to get it over with as quickly as possible. The Dioko is loosely based on the 7hz Timeless, and the Timeless, even though it is double the price, in my opinion, is well worth the investment, especially if you're comparing it to the Dioko. If you're considering getting the Dioko or the Timeless, I definitely would go with the Timeless. The Timeless absolutely destroys the Dioko when it comes to connecting with the listener. It just has more emotion, it has more energy, it has more sparkle, and it has more engagement, and it just sounds like it wants to be there, and it wants to give you the best performance that it's capable of when it comes to sound. Also, it does a better job with detail retrieval and resolution, and tone and timbre is more accurate and true, and the bass has some girth to it, and there's more note weight, and it just sounds more pleasing. The Dioko. If you are interested in finding out what Planars are capable of at $99, it's an introduction to it. But at the same time, there's just... If you're looking for something laid back, chill, and just want it to be unoffensive and just carefree and just, all right, here you go. Here's your music. The Dioko. It's been Dave, the Honest Audiophile. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video. Speaking of next video, somewhere on screen, subscription links, notification bells. If you haven't already, please check those off. And then don't forget to check out the links down below. There's all kinds of information down there regarding music recommendations, gear recommendations, and tier lists, and all kinds of other things are down below. So check out those links. And then don't forget to enjoy the music, and that honesty is the best policy.